Good evening, and welcome to our first program for the year, the brand new year 2026, in a beautiful country, Dominica. We have tonight, of course, program to this evening to distinguish honorable gentlemen. Of course, they will introduce themselves in a while. And let me just take this opportunity again to wish everyone a happy new year. And I want to take this opportunity again to congratulate Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, who has been appointed Commissioner of Police, and of course Mr. Jeffrey James, who has also been appointed as Deputy Chief of Police. Tonight we're going to have a very mellow, cool program here tonight, and to our wonderful listeners, those of you listening in Dominica, and those of you listening overseas, welcome to Legal Affairs on You. And we'll give you an opportunity to know about the workings of the ministry and the various departments and the services that we provide to this wonderful public. And as we strive to ensure that you are enlightened and informed on the functions of the respective departments under the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs. Tonight we are speaking to the Chief of Police and the Deputy Chief of Police. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions and to inquire as to what you may wish to do. But tonight we're going to give the Chief and the Deputy Chief an opportunity before we proceed into the pith and substance of this program tonight. And we're going to ask the Chief to say something about himself. And similarly, we'll give Mr. James the same opportunity to do so. But we always hear about the Chief of Police, Mr. Lincoln Cobbett. But who is Lincoln Cobbett in terms as to where were you born and where you went to school and what actually inspired you to wanting to join the police force? And so, good evening to you, Mr. Cobbett, and of course, when you're finished, we will give Mr. Jeffrey James the same opportunity to do so.
Good evening, Honorable Minister and listeners of DBS. My name is Lincoln Cobbett. I am from Laplin, born and grown in Laplin. In my formative years, I went to the Laplin Primary School. And from there, I went to St. Andrews High School. One may ask, why St. Andrews? I actually benefited from a GSP program, GSP. And then I only got space in St. Andrews, Londonderry at the time. So I remained there for 3 years. After that, I joined the force. But before joining the force, I actually taught for about 6 months. And then I joined the force on the 1st of March, 1990. So I've been in the force for almost 36 years. But while in the force, though, I pursued higher education. At UWI, I did a diploma in management. I also do a certificate in public administration. And then I went overseas, where I did my first degree in criminal justice and a minor in political science. I have worked in many areas for the force, sections, stations, many areas. I think I worked at draw squad for the longest. I think I spent 5 years in draw squad for where I spent the longest time. I have worked in various other stations, for example, Salibe, Marigot, Laplin, and Grozo, SSU, CID, for the force, really. But I'm a very humble person, Mr. Blackmoore. I'm a very humble person. I'm very approachable. I'm a people's person. Somebody may not think that way, but I'm a people's person. And I always believe in second chances, because had it not been for the GSP, if you give me a second chance, I would not have been able to fulfill my dreams, my career. Why I joined the force? My father used to be a police officer. He served for a while, about 25 years. And sort of following his footsteps, I became a police officer by myself.
If I may ask you that you were actually inspired by your dad to join the police force, and that is something you wanted to do. So you were not simply looking for a job.
No, I wasn't simply looking for a job. If I were looking for a job, I would have gone a long time.
Okay.
Staying 35 years in an institution, and that's more than a lifetime. If you're looking for a job, you'd have stayed 10 years, 20 years and move on. But I've been here for 35, 36 very soon. And I'm suspecting I will stay there for a little while longer.
Okay.
So not just a job.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'm going to come back to you just now so we can actually graduate into a further discussion as to the advice you may want to give to people, young people who are considering now joining the police force. But I'm going to go across to Mr. Jeffrey, JJ, as it's commonly called. In the police force, they give you a nickname. You must have a nickname. I'm not sure. I never heard of the nickname for the commissioner of police. Huh? But I have been told his nickname in the force is Hans. Is that true, Chief?
I have a few names.
Okay, I don't know. So, but in the police force, they have to give you a name. So I know it's JJ. So, JJ, yeah, the ball is yours right now.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, sir, for giving me the opportunity live on DBS and live on DBS. I was born and raised in Bellevue, Dominica, a proud father of 2 girls, one who is currently at university in the United States and the other is at secondary school on island. But I'm hastened to say that I am a testament to the power of community and hard work grounded in growing up in the 80s and the 90s. My upbringing in this tight-knit community, though from very humble beginnings, instilled in me the values, work ethic, and discipline from my 98-year-old father who is still alive. And with him instilling discipline in me, that really defined me as a person who is an advocate for discipline. So really and truly, that's me in a nutshell, coming from the community of Bellevue.
You're from Bellevue. So you said that you're led to join the police force by what?
Well, I got the inspiration from joining the police force, having been seen and other police officers from the very community. They gave me the inspiration to join the police force in the sense that I wanted to be an example, a role model in the community, and I think the police force would give me the opportunity to do that, to be an example to the youngsters and to people in my community. So with their inspiration, with their guidance and with their encouragement, I was enlisted into the police force, having worked as a teacher in 3 communities, Grand Bay, Pichelin, and Jodel. So really, when I joined the police force, I had been teaching for the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, so very interesting. I never knew that about you being a teacher for 4 years. But that's very interesting, and Mr. Cobbett said he also taught briefly, so that's good. In terms of I know Bellevue is a small community, and who are the police officers there that actually you emulated, so to speak?
I can speak to one Mr. Coffee Williams, Superintendent Coffee Williams, who was passed on, and I remember him of blessed memory. I see him as a role model in terms of how he carried himself in the community as a police officer, and other officers who came after him, like the Lavilles, like Winston Laville and Paul Laville. These were the officers who really inspired me as a community person to join the police force.
Very interesting. Okay, now give us a history of you being in the police force in terms as to the different departments and areas where you work.
Yes, I worked at various departments within the police force. After my initial training at Montrose, I worked in the outstation St. Joseph. Then I went to the criminal investigation department, where I spent many of my years, or the longest stint in a department for over 10 years, investigating serious and indictable crimes. And from the CID, I worked in Laplin, Grand Bay, Portsmouth, and National Prosecution Service, where I prosecuted for a few years both indictable and summary matters at the Roseville Magistrate Court. And from there, I was also involved in prosecuting at every magisterial district on island. And so too, I investigated serious crimes to include homicides, murders, murders in every police district on island. But I'm from a more educational background. I also attended the University of the West Indies, where I obtained a distinction in the discipline of criminology, which is by simple definition the study of crime, the criminal behavior, and penology and the criminal justice really. So it's a discipline that entails this free aspect of crime, the study of crime, the criminal behavior, the criminal justice system, and some penology, which is management and rehabilitation of persons who found themselves in difficulty and are to be incarcerated at the state prison.
Well, very interesting. And you would have actually pursued or followed a number of professional training in the line of policing and investigation. Regionally.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to be trained regionally, locally, and internationally in different fields of policing, like fraud, investigations, investigation of serious crime, homicides, crime scene management, crime scene investigation, even forensic investigation, crime scene analysis, and a whole money laundering, a whole set of other aspects of investigations. I can remember in Barbados, in Jamaica, in Trinidad, and other countries, even as far as China.
You made reference to Barbados. I noticed to have a very interesting and very comprehensive and taxing to senior detective program. It's a while I can recall doing that program because they have Sergeant Labadie, my good buddy. When you do that senior detective course, when you come back you're like a QC. I think that's something we have to, Commissioner, we look into ensure that our officers can follow those courses. And so it's very interesting that you made reference Barbados, because they had some really good programming, senior detective programs and stuff like that. So you're well rounded, both you and Mr. Corbett, well rounded. Mr. Chief of Police, would you have done programs in senior command, management, etc., and etc.? I can recall that you may have done a few of those.
Apart from the senior program, management program, I also would have benefit from all the courses.
Yeah.
Regionally, I went as far as Jamaica, did drug courses, but in 2011 I was fortunate to be awarded a course in St. Vincent, not senior, but common and staff and common course, the staff and common course in which I did, and I came out. I scored very well in that course.
Yeah.
So I've been exposed, and that program itself is a very in-depth, very challenging program, and not many people are selected to do it. And those of you also who passed it would have worked very hard to achieve that.
Yeah, but that's a program that has been relaunched now. Relaunched right now, which I think is very important. Yeah,
it's been relaunched, and it's not easy, I would say, but in days I did it, it was very challenging. You have to do most of it on your own, at home, and then go travel to the other half of it. But it's a very good program, and anybody aspiring to management in the force should really stick to do it.
Okay, let us look at the police force. So the reason why we have actually started by building that foundation, in so far as the discussion is concerned, is to kind of give the listeners an opportunity to see within themselves a young man, a JJ, or a Lincoln Corbett. Now, what advice would you have for a young man listening to you right now, or a young lady wanting to join the police force? What can he or she expect? Is it a promising career that you would advise any young person to take on?
By all means, Mr. Mist, I would advise anybody to join the police force. As a matter of fact, we are right now seeking new recruits. It's a very rewarding career path. It's teaches you discipline.
Sorry, you may want to speak more into the mic or something. But I know you're a big fella. You're put up there. Okay.
I say it's a very rewarding career path. It teaches you discipline for sure, punctuality, and that sort of thing. And you can really make a difference in society. You help people basically. Yes, you get paid, but it's a really rewarding career.
Yeah, I want to give the deputy chief a similar opportunity.
Yes, as Deputy Chief of Police, I invite in passionate Dominicans to join our team. We are looking for dedicated individuals who are for safety, justice, serving our community. If you are committed to making a difference, willing to serve with integrity, eager to protect and engage with our communities, we want you. The force offers training locally, regionally, and internationally, and it provides opportunities for growth and career development. It also, I must say, has an attractive salary with benefits and allowances. So we are inviting people.
I want to, you know something? I'm not going to allow you and the chief tonight to get away with that. Now you said it offers what, JJ?
An attractive salary, benefits, and allowances.
Well, I'm hearing that. I'm so.
It's the highest paying entry level job in Dominica for anybody.
Is that so? Because I've been hearing so many things. And why are you guys not saying that? Why are you guys not saying that?
We said it many times. The highest.
We hear so many negative talk sometimes, and police officers getting minimum wage and all kind of. Nobody says, unless the minister says something, like Prime Minister, nobody says anything about it. So I'm not happy. I'm not saying. I just heard the Deputy Chief of Police said something a while ago. So just for the purpose of emphasis, therefore, I want you just to recap what you just said. It is attractive.
An attractive salary with benefits and allowances.
What benefit? When you talk about benefit, what do you mean?
Benefit in the sense that it provides opportunities where you could get further training, develop your career. You could go out of state, regionally and internationally, and learning new things. If you're interested in career of policing, it can help develop you as an individual. Teaches you discipline, and not only as a police officer, but it teaches you how to manage people in a workplace, how to deal with people, to improve on your interaction with people, to make really the society and the place a better place. So it really offers you opportunities to develop yourself and your career.
I'm going to give the chief an opportunity to further qualify benefits.
Yeah. Additionally, Mr. Minister, benefits. I don't think any other career in Dominica offers you health benefits like police force. Health benefits, not only for you but also for your family. So anything were to happen to you in the line of duty, even out of the line of duty, once you're in the force, your whole coverage, medical coverage, is taken care of by the state, and is in the law. It's not optional for the state, basically. It's in the law. So if you were to suffer any injury whatsoever while you are an active member, the whole cost is taken care of by the state. Additionally, some years ago in the late 90s, the government agreed with the Police Welfare Association at the time to have a group medical coverage. So your family, your wife, children can also be included. And not only your wife, your common law wife.
No, you have to, when you're speaking about common law wife, you have to qualify that, because I see sometimes people have associates not living together, living in separate homes, and with their girlfriends or maybe their girlfriends, and that is not considered to be common law. But I know there are instances where you had some issues there, isn't that so?
Well, when you sign up for the policy for group medical insurance, you put somebody's name.
Okay.
Until such time you remove the person's name, whether you're separated or not, that person still enjoys the benefits.
Yeah, but
so if you were to
talking about medicals,
that's correct for the medicals.
So we're not talking about. Is there another element to the benefit in terms of medical
for the family? No, I think that's about it. For the officer, everything. Your children, I mentioned children also. Your wife or common law wife and your children also benefiting from that.
Okay, good. So you're saying to a young lady listening to you right now, and a young because we want to also encourage you want to also encourage our young men to join because your recent experience in terms of the number of applicants you have been getting, I think based on what you have advised me, the minister who have been saying, you see more women.
Not just more women. I mean, maybe 5 times more women applying than men.
So
we could train it easily to the 100 women.
Mhm.
100 women. We have some men applying, but for the past say 5-6 years, we have seen a marked increase in the amount of women applying to join the force. Again, the women, if I won't say they're better off, but the force is a good place for them. Because
so what advice would you have for our young men specifically wanting, because one of the intentions of the program here tonight is how can we inspire our young men and to do positive things and to embrace occupations and careers that can help them, strengthen their lives and to make a meaningful contribution to society. Mind you, you don't have to be a teacher, a police officer, or a doctor to do so. You can be a good plumber, you can be a good mechanic, you can be a good business person, you can be a good farmer. But here it is, you have a situation whereby before, the common thing was to have found a situation whereby mostly men would have applied. But now you're now confronted with a reality where most of the applicants are women. So apart from the benefits, etc., what do you think you can do tonight to try to speak to a young man listening to you? Both you and Mr. James, to encourage a young man who we'll get to the prerequisites or the requirements during the force in a while. What advice?
We've been encouraging. I've been encouraging people, young men, that is, to join the force. As you indicated, some of the benefits, yes, but really and truly, you're growing up as a young man. You don't want to be dependent on your parents. I mean, you sit at your mother's home or your father's home, and you have to tend to them for everything. You're growing up to be a young man, and you're 20 years, 21 years. You really want to find something, and if you cannot find, you may not want to go into farming or into carpentry or into construction. As I indicated before, the force is a good place to try. So you can give us 5, 10, 15 years. And incidentally, Mr. Mace, after 20 years, if you join at 18 years, after 20 years, you get a pension. And you can get a gratuity. And a pension until age 60, 65. And then you're 48 years old. And then you can move on. So my encouragement here already and truly is to ask them to join. Don't stay home and sit and say, well, I would go for something else. Something else may never come.
So, but wouldn't you be better off to get people who see policing as a calling, as a vocation?
Well, that would be better. Mm-hmm. But with what we've seen lately, some young men tend to want to shy away from the force. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure why that is so. But if you were to come in and give 20 years, that to me is still a long time. Mm-hmm. That's a full career.
Mr. James?
Yes, as deputy, I would like to encourage them to begin, stay in school, get some education, because there is a criteria to join the force. And once you stay in school, you get the requisite knowledge, and you so qualify in some level of education. It enhances your chances of joining the police force, because there is a criteria in terms of qualification to enter the force. So my advice to young men: stay in school, be disciplined, and stay on the right path. So if you are interested in the police force, that brings you got a very good chance of being enlisted. So my advice is to stay in school, get some form of education, so that it increases the chances of you entering or being enlisted into the police force. But if you were to see the police force as some form of a career, like the chief said, a 20-year period brings you to a pension. 20 consecutive years bring you to a pension. And you may, if you so wish, you may move to another field, but we are encouraging you to enter. Having entered, if you enter, do not come and leave so soon. At least give us a 20 good service. And you may move on if you so wish, but we would prefer that you move on to probably age retirement at 60. So my advice is to stay in school, be disciplined, stay away from criminal activity, and it increases the chances of you entering or being enlisted into the police force.
Okay, great. Fascinating. Chief, I mean, you as a chief of police, and maybe you want to lay out to people who are listening to you who may be interested in joining the police force. What are the requirements in terms of to join the police force?
The requirements to join the force is similar to that of joining public service. So you ought to have at least a minimum of 4 CXC or GC subjects, including maths or English.
Okay.
So if you have
maths or English?
Or English.
No, not both.
Not both. But if you have both, it's better.
Yeah, either. I'm not saying.
Yeah, it's better. So maths or English, and your following that, you apply to the force, and we do a background check. So we go to the village, we go to your schools or wherever you work, and do a very in-depth background check on you. So your character must be impeccable. I know some people may ask the question of cannabis. If you would have smoked cannabis before as a young man, that today is not a barrier to join the force, since we know you can be in possession of a certain quantity. But the basic requirement, I said, is 4 subjects, including English and maths. But Mr. While I'm still on the issue of benefits, we didn't spell it out. I don't know if you want me to spell out exactly what the salary is, the starting salary of a constable. The basic salary of a constable is $2,980, just under $3,000. And if that officer would find himself working, for example, at the firearms task force,
Is it 2009 or 3000 something?
2988
After training.
after training. On training, you get pay. It's a bit lower. So if you were to find yourself working at the firearms task force, for example, you get allowances, risk allowance, you get plainclothes allowance.
But before you go there, doesn't every police officer get a risk allowance?
That's correct. Of $250.
Right. Okay. And that doesn't include your basic salary. It
does not.
Right.
It does not.
And if you do work in our station, do you get an outstation allowance?
That's correct too.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
And if you're married also,
Okay.
you get a housing allowance also.
Yeah. I can recall getting that, because I was married at the time, So, but the thing is, and then you have what allowance. So if you work CID, you get plainclothes,
That's correct.
detective, etc. If you work on the Coast Guard, you get a particular risk allowance.
That's correct.
And SSU, the emphasis there, the task force and the firearm task force, etc. Special branch and areas there. So yeah, so
a constable coming in on his first year, straight out of training, his take-home pay is in excess of $3,500. In excess of that.
yeah, 3005.
In excess.
Yeah, excess of that.
In excess of that.
As immediately after training.
Straight after out of training.
Okay, so
You get into draw squad or firearms task force at the SSU. The allowances keep climbing, and your take-home pay, your salary is in excess of 3.5, in region of 3.7
as a constable.
as a constable. And if you're married, so you look at almost $4,000 for a constable.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, but why these things are? I mean, to me, it's fascinating. That is why we have a situation in this country, and don't take it personal. That where you have, it's difficult to have heads of departments and people with certain positions, and it happens on some of the boards too, and who do not want to speak to the public, and then leaving the onus therefore on the political directorates to speak on matters of national significance and matters that they are actually paid to do. And it's interesting that these things have been ventilated, because sometimes when a politician comes out to speak, people say, "Oh, just as a politician, Mr. Lion." That's what I'm saying. But you have the public servants and people maybe on boards and they're quiet. So it's an interesting piece of information that is out there, and I'm hoping that it's not going to used as something to entice people just to look for a job. But if you're motivated only by money, that the police force might not be the best place for you.
No, that's correct.
It's important, but it must not be the sole motivating factor. Do you agree with me, Mr. Deputy Chief?
Yes, sir, I'm very much in agreement. It must be some form of willingness to serve the community, because the police force is not a place that would make you rich, and it's not a place that will make you rich entirely or make you a very wealthy person. It will sustain you for the salary, but if your sole motivation is because of salary money, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. You must be motivated to serve the community, to keep us safe, the community safe, and to provide a service really to Dominica and make the place a safer place.
Now, while we're there on the whole issue of requirements, you spoke about the qualification or academic requirement. But are there other issues that one has to meet in terms of being able to pass a medical, your medicals, and you must be fit, etc. Do you want to go? Do you want to go for that?
I'll go into it. Yeah. So after you would have applied to the chief, and your background check would have been completed.
Mm.
You undergo an interview, initial interview. A panel of gazette officers, about 3 of us. And if you are so selected to go to the other stage, the next phase then is polygraph testing. That is done, and we are credited with 2 of our own polygraphers, so it can be done very quickly. Following that, you are selected to do a medical examination. It's a very intense, in-depth medical examination. Again, because the training itself is very intensive, and if you're not fit enough to be on training, you could get yourself very hurt. You could get hurt. So, following the medical examination now, then you are further screened to ensure that you meet all the criteria. Then you move forward. But the medical examination itself, you must pass it. If you fail it, you can't join the police force. And if I may go into the training itself, some of the aspects of the training, just on the physical side, it's a very demanding training.
But before you go to that, do you have to go for a polygraph test?
So after the initial interview, and you're so qualified, that round, the next round is polygraph. And I say you must pass the polygraph to go the other round, the other stage. Now,
some people say sometimes you fail the polygraph, and maybe there could have been some mistakes made by the examiner, etc. And people say, and sometimes they call him innocent, so that person is a good person, and that person, etc. Now, another criticism is that somebody has been through all the levels, and the person actually did it up to the polygraph test, and 6 months pass by, a year, and that person, nothing is being said to the person, and then training starts. Yeah. Do you want to give an explanation to that?
Well, at the polygraph phase, Mr. You should have an idea whether or not you pass.
I know, but
because based upon your admissions, importantly, what you admit to the polygrapher, and at the end they will tell you exactly how you performed.
Okay, fine.
So if you know you performed terribly, do not expect a call to go on training.
So the person you're saying that the person, after being polygraphed or examined,
it is discussed with them.
The person would have been told.
Yeah, what they performed.
Right.
And you know what you admitted to. If you admitted to crimes, criminal activity, do expect to be called to go on training. So.
Yeah, but isn't that if somebody is honest enough to admit, it all depends to the gravity of of what the person is admitting to. But if somebody is admitting to things that he or she did, isn't that an element of that person being truthful?
You may be truthful, but the police force is not for you. Okay, if you admitted that you were involved in gun running, or drug smuggling, or that sort of thing, or burglaries, or theft, or other crimes, yes, you admitted. You may very well pass the polygraph, or show no significant reactions, but do you take some of that into the police force?
Right, okay. I just wanted you to actually put it out there so the ordinary folks can understand. Okay. Now, do you want to add anything to that, Mr. James?
I just wanted to go back to the benefits in terms of, for emphasis. Every police officer now gets a risk allowance. Every police officer gets a risk allowance. And the benefit doesn't only end at the constable level. If you are promoted, obviously, you are going to go to another level, another scale in terms of salary. So all these are benefits. As you go up the rank, you get an increase in salary. And if I'm not mistaken, you get an increment every year. So that in itself increases in your salary until you reach a certain 10 years, the increment stops as a constable. And as you go in other rank too, you're entitled to other increments as well. So all these are benefits going up the rank. I just wanted to say that for emphasis.
But is that if you're an inspector of police, doesn't the state have some responsibility to ensure that not only your house, but maybe your family members?
Yes, sir.
That's correct. So up to the rank of inspector, and you're married, you're entitled to a lodging allowance. But from the inspector rank, you're actually entitled to lodging. That is for you and your family.
Okay.
At the rank of inspector.
Yeah, so when you say lodging, what do you mean? And you say that like you don't want to say it.
No, a house, and not a one-bedroom house, a house for family house.
Okay.
That's a 2-bedroom, in some cases a 3-bedroom house. And if you are very familiar with the force, in all stations where the inspectors reside, they have a house for the family. Albeit that man may have a house of his own, and he may not move his family to the premises, but there is in fact a house provided for the inspector in the stations.
So too, if you're the rank of assistant superintendent or superintendent in charge of a district, so too you'll be entitled for reasonable accommodation for your family.
That's correct.
Okay, fine. So you're listening to this program, Legal Affairs and You. It's a program where we try to engage the public and give the public an appreciation as to the functioning of the ministry, the various departments, and the services that we actually provide on behalf of the people of this country. We have tonight, of course, the Commissioner of Police, the Chief of Police, Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, and Mr. Jeffrey James. Now, and in a while, we have maybe about 20 more minutes. We will open the line in a while to the calls. But before we do that, Mr. Commissioner, I'm happy that we actually give the listening public and people who are considering joining the police force an appreciation as to what the requirements are and what the package or packages, so to speak, look like. Now, your role as the Chief of Police and you have a deputy, and is to lead and manage a very serious organization. Now, in terms of your plans to deal with the crime situation and to protect the public and to come up with a regime of initiatives, not only geared towards crime prevention, but to assist the public. Without going into the granular details, what are your plans? So how can you actually assure the public under your management that you have things under control and you have a plan in order to execute on their behalf?
Recently assured Mr. Minister that community policing is the way to go. Prior to that, we had traditional policing, where you waited for something to happen, and then you reacted. And the public would have only seen the police when they come to make an arrest or to deliver a report. This is out of the window. So for the past couple of years, we've been mandated to ensure that we implement community policing fully throughout the island. So we've implemented, and we are right now in place a unit, the community policing unit, headed by Sergeant Andrew, to implement and to ensure that community policing takes root in Dominica. Community policing really has to do with the public and the police working collaboratively to solve issues. Ideally, you'll have a core committee made up of people from the community, resource people, everybody right basically throughout the community. And they would identify issues of concern to the community. Each of those concerns would be different or could be different. So, example, in Marigot, the issues could be different from that in Grand Bay. So in Wesley. So in Wesley, for example, we have an issue with predial larceny. So what we've done, we've formed a group with concerned citizens along with the police, and we're patrolling the committees of Wesley on particular days. So what we have seen, research has shown that on a bit from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday evenings up to Sunday, those are the times we get most of the reports from farmers of the produce being stolen. So we have a patrol regime. We patrol the areas in the inner areas of the community, the village, the farm roads, to prevent even to apprehend people who would be stealing from the farm. And we've seen a marked decrease, significant decrease in the amount of reports from the farmers reporting theft from the farm. So community policing, as I said, is the way to go. And throughout all of this year, you'll see we're ramping up the whole idea of community policing throughout the state. We also have this issue of the careless use of firearms. And again,
before you go to the firearms, in terms of this, it is so important for us to actually give greater currency to the whole significance of community policing. And so what are the precursors, though, to community policing? Is because you're trying to prevent crime, and you have to come up with a specific program as per communities, as we have been able to do. You have been able to do in Grand Bay, in other areas where you have core groups with an action plan, and with the police force, the community policing unit, and the inspector in charge of Grand Bay, doing the necessary follow-ups, etc., with that action plan group. But one would say, why aren't you seeing more police officers in uniform in the respective districts with a sense of purpose? What is the response to that?
Well, this is a perennial problem that we've been having, we're seeking to address. Really and truly, the police ought to be seen more in the public. We are servants of the public, and we are there to serve members of the public. But community policing, Mr. Minister, there are some issues, some challenges to get it off the ground, because some officers would be stuck in the old ways, and we have to get them to understand and think and understand and appreciate the new concept. Yes, the police ought to be out there more in communities, and we've been asking, we've been urging, and honestly, I've seen some improvement in the police presence, albeit we could be doing much more. But I've seen some improvement in the patrolling out officers in the Grand Bay area, in Portsmouth, in Marigot area. Yes, but La Plaine also, St. Joseph. Not enough in Mahu for sure, because much more could be done. But coming this year, is our intention to have a greater presence of police throughout the island. What you are seeing lately, though, also we have come up with a program where we have a guard in uniform at all the major stations. So if you go to Grand Bay, you'll meet a guard. You go to St. Joseph, La Plaine, Marigot, Portsmouth for sure have guards. That is a receptionist, a diarist to take your reports between 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock every day.
Yeah, but one might say, I mean, and that's where the problem begins. Because policing is not a 8 to 4 job. I can recall when working inside, some of the folks who work with me, they're still around. We had an 8 to 4 approach, and then some folks who would have come back from 6 night time to 8 o'clock next day. You call that night reserve. And then under Mr. Hilaire, may so rest in peace, we still got him fifth. They introduced a shift system, 8 to 4, 4 to midnight, and midnight to 08. Understand? And I'm saying that because may so rest in peace, Inspector Joshua James. The only house station I worked was St. Joseph. When I got there, I said, my God, why did I join the police force? Because, I mean, we will recruit a young guy, and then all man sleeping there, and they're going by the head. Yeah. But at all times, you had somebody on the guard desk. At all times. At night time, from midnight, you had to be half dressed. And during the daytime, officers had to be half dressed in the police station, even if you were not doing guard duties. So during the day, you had to be in uniform, and other officers half dressed. And I think that is what the public is saying. And I think it's okay to talk about community policing, but this basic stuff, what has been argued that the public would like to see happen, is to go back to the days of what policing ought to be. Do you agree with that observation?
I agree, Mr. Minister, that honestly that's why we're trying to ensure that we bring it back, because it was a practice over the past years, maybe past 20 years. Officers have already slumped and gone into the seats. So we're trying right now to encourage officers to understand that if you're more engaged with the public, if you spend more time with the public, your work becomes lighter.
Okay. Oh, good stuff. So, yeah. You can continue.
Sorry about that. So I said, community policing, I said this year, Mr. Minister, you will see, and the public will see a greater presence of police throughout the island. Recently, I engaged Mr. Sergeant Andrew to spend some time in Portsmouth. We know what's happened in Portsmouth lately. Portsmouth, I won't say that we have been forgotten, but honestly, the proactive approach of policing in Portsmouth was lacking. And so we've planned, and we have right now we're executing a special exercise plan for Portsmouth, where you will see a greater presence of police. And anybody from Portsmouth will tell you right now, they're seeing actually greater presence of officers on the streets doing the work that the public expect the police to do. So going forward, yes, for 2026 and beyond, we'll see officers in our stations or districts in uniform assisting the public and attending to the reports. Not just waiting, but going and being proactive. And we'll see, again, more groups, more community-oriented groups being formed. We have a group, as I said, in Wesley. We should be launching very soon, using, again, the template that was given by the Ministry of National Security. Same template as in Grand Bay, as in Bath State and the other areas. Our intention is to launch that group, again, to deal with concerns that members of the public have in that area.
You also, I was very much impressed, and I want to commend the police force and commend the community policing unit in particular. And I went to a session at Goodwill, where you had a number of community leaders in the Goodwill Central area, and I think they have some kind of neighborhood watch, and which is also important in areas like Santa Roma, Kenfield East, and these areas there. And I don't see police in our areas in Boboa, Castle Comfort area there and stuff like that. And also, so those areas there, and the community and neighborhood watch, I think is an excellent initiative, and I want to commend. I am hoping that that can be replicated in Emsall, in Kenfield East, and this Wallhouse, Girodale. This place is there. So hats off to your chief and the men for actually embracing that.
But the teams, Mr. Mitchell, if I may add, in Emsall, not Emsall, but St. Roma and Goodwill, there are actually two the upper Goodwill, at St. Roma and lower Goodwill area. And that group is very, very active. And lately, I think I stand corrected. I think I'm correct, that is, we have not been seeing burglaries in that area at all.
Now, the people...
And anybody suspicious that would pass in that area, the police will get a call. Mm-hmm. And so that group is very, very, very active. And I think communities can emulate the St. Roma and lower Goodwill area.
Okay, we have not opened your line yet, but there's a caller. Let's try to see if we can engage that caller. Good evening. We missed the call. Good evening. You're live. Hello. All right. Continue, Chief. Yeah.
Yeah. So the groups in St. Roma, they are not actual community policing groups. But they are basically one aspect of community policing, that is the neighborhood aspect of it. And again, they have also identified some of the issues that they had at the time. Mm-hmm. There are issues of vagrancy, people stealing their crops, their mangoes and the stuff that they plant in their backyards, and some aspects also of trespassing and also burglaries. And I say since that was implemented, we've seen a marked decrease, and to me almost no burglary has been reported from Central Roma area. And before that, I know we had reports what happening.
Well, it's important, that you're referencing that, because based on the crime and the crime report that you have on a weekly basis being issued, historically, the Roseau catchment area would have been the area with the most burglaries. And maybe Mr. James may want to make just a reference to the extent to which we have seen a significant decline in burglaries over the years.
That is very true. Burglary was a very common offense, and I'm speaking island-wide, not only in the Roseau area, but we have seen burglary get a significant decrease in the central and island-wide. It's like more than, from time, in certain instances, more than 300% decrease continually. For example, in mid-1995, we had in excess of 2,000 plus burglary, or almost 2,000 plus burglary. It has gone down to about 200 burglaries island-wide. So you can see the marked decrease in burglary. Now, some may ask, what is the reason for that? I think there are many factors that cause that. The advent of community policing, the involvement of the police, so to the investigation, some of the offenders have found themselves being investigated and convicted and spend time at the prison. Some of the offenders as well, they have outlived their usefulness in terms of committing crime. So they have really gone. Some of them died. Some of them have, because of age, they have retired from that criminal activity. I am saying the advent of technology, modern technology, where you have CCTV, and people are more concerned about using cameras and other instruments for safety and for the detection of crime and detection of offenders. And I must say, to the increased presence of the police, there is an increase. Before, we are seeing a better presence of the police, which need to be increased even better. What I'm saying, the increased presence of the police is a factor in bringing down the burglary as well.
Does not also speak about the caliber of the Dominican people, and that to the extent to which they have matured, to the extent to which they have emerged over the years, and in terms of education, in terms of maturity intellectually, and doesn't it speak to the general mood of the country in terms of notwithstanding some of the issues that we have in the issue of growing crime, but that speaks to a particular pattern in terms of the mood of the Dominican public generally a peaceful people.
That's correct. And for emphasis and to move further in giving more details on the decrease, not only burglary or the crimes like theft on the decrease, USI, the sexually related offenses on the decrease. All these, there are many other offenses, robbery on the decrease, taking conveyance on the decrease. Generally, crime is on the decrease in Dominica, and it continued to decrease, which is a good thing. And as you said, the public had a role to play in that as well, in terms of they have become a more mature society, I think. They understand the role of the police. They are more willing to assist the police as well. Some are more willing to assist the police. So all these factors help in the decrease in the crime that we are now seeing over the years generally.
Because we have seen also a significant change in the living conditions of Dominicans, in terms of the extent to which poverty contribute towards one's inclination, being inclined to commit crimes, and that is less significant now because you have less poverty. So there are a number of variables that we may want to look at, but I think is also a significant plus for us, and it's something that you need to use as a reference point. That if you're seeing the significant reduction in the other aspects or areas of crime, can we therefore try to come up with a plan and to tackle the incidents of gun violence, etc., which cannot be dealt with only from a law enforcement standpoint, but we're talking about law enforcement here tonight. And in that regard, the chief was a while ago about to speak about the issue of gun crime, etc., without going into the specifics as to his plans.
Yes, I also indicated earlier, we've seen a marked increase in the use of firearms to commit crimes. That's not like us. We're not used to this thing, and we'll spare no effort as the police to ensure that we rid the streets of all firearms, wherever they may be, and the officers are very committed and dedicated to achieving that goal. It's not an easy task, but we understand what the task at hand, and we are committed to ensuring that the public is well served, and we do everything that possible to reduce the amount of firearms in circulation in the state. Again, without going into detail, into operational detail, we will again this year ramp up all our efforts island-wide to ensure that we can reduce this scourge. Last year was not good. I was not very happy last year. This year, our intention is to go real hard to ensure that this nonsense stops.
And then the thing is that the state has invested a lot in terms of resources and providing the police with what I like to call it the tools of trade, and ensuring that in terms of the technical support that you need and the human resource component of it are indeed provided. And tell us something about a number of officers who have been trained in the recent past to the issue of the restoration of the serial numbers for firearms. At least it's 23, I think.
That's correct.
23, yeah.
So we've trained sometime late last year, as Mr. indicated, 23 officers, and we're now able, that is locally, to restore serial numbers from firearms. One may say we should keep it as a secret, but no. In fact, that's a big plus for us.
Yeah.
And prior to that, we were struggling. A lot of those matters were going. We had to send them overseas. Sometimes you had to wait months to get the information. And the Ministry of National Security, that is spearheaded by the Minister, spent a significant amount of money to ensure that the trading. I know it cost a lot because I know what it took. Because we had to bring experts here to do about 5 experts here into Dominica for about a week and a half. So that's a significant sum. Sorry. So the officers now are trained to do restoration, and even while doing the training, of the 23 firearms that were presented at the training, we were able to lift or restore 22 serial numbers. and we're able also, Mr. Minister, to trace all of those firearms.
Yeah, without going into the specifics.
We're not going to the specifics, yes.
Yeah.
So we're able to trace it. So apart from recovery, we also train how to trace firearms.
And that have really given rise to some really good fruits. But you may want to keep that there. So the thing is, in terms of the other areas that you're looking at, in terms of the police being better able to do a number of things in terms of investigation and in terms of monitoring, which you don't want to go into. And we're focusing therefore heavily on the issue of firearm crimes and the issue of ballistics, etc. And one of the highlights of last year coming into this year is what they call a testing chamber, and which of course we want to actually take this opportunity to express our gratitude to impacts, CARICOM impacts, and for sourcing the support and the funding for that very critical piece of equipment that will allow you in Dominica. We may only go ahead to fire the firearms, and
that's correct.
Yeah, and to capture the ballistics. And one of the things I believe that going forward that we may have to want to capture is not only in terms of suspected illegal firearms that could have been used for possible committing a crime, but I believe going forward you have to come up with a regime of initiative to deal with capturing the ballistic readings of every licensed firearm. And you understand what I'm saying? And so somebody is granted a gun license. Before that person gets a gun, the police would fire it.
That's fine, yeah.
And capture the reading, and that's placed into a database.
I agree, Mr. I fully support that. Almost like a DNA database.
Yeah.
So in the event that weapon will be used anywhere in Dominica or anywhere around the world, you would already have in your database that information.
Yeah. So that is something.
Because I mean, we must not be naive, because you never know. Some of the crime that could be committed, that could very well have been committed with the use of legal firearms.
But there's still, because
so you never know.
There's the law is being looked at right now to change that, and there's no mandate on the part of a licensed firearm owner. Because let's suppose Mr. Jeffrey James is a licensed firearm owner, and when April comes, he simply presents himself in a revenue to pay for his firearm. That's correct. License. But the police chief doesn't know. The police doesn't know whether that person has that firearm, whether that firearm was stolen and not reported to the police, or whether that firearm was privately sold, which is not allowed under the law, and by to somebody else. So it's not only placing emphasis on the illicit firearm itself, but also those who came across the firearm lawfully, but are now behaving unlawfully.
That's correct.
So then you have to have mechanisms in place, therefore, to capture everything onto a database. So I think going into the new year, and with the support we're getting and the equipment that you're going to have, will allow you to better manage and investigate gun-related crimes.
And I agree, Mr. Minister, because right into we need to, I said, do some amendment to the Act, so we could capture, as I said, and critically, when you come to relicense that firearm, just like you would present your motor vehicle for inspection, a firearm being what it's designed to do, and by the mere definition is a lethal barrel weapon, we need to know that this weapon is still in your care. You can still account for it, and it's still serviceable, and that you have it.
Yeah.
So present it, we inspect it, and then we're going to give you a certificate to go and pay for the license.
Now, what message do you have for people? Because there seems to be a code of silence in some communities, and which maybe point to the direction of you may have complicits or people benefiting from the proceeds of crime, and in that regard are quiet. And what message do you have for these people in terms of because we have to together turn this thing around. What message do you have for?
Well, I want to warn them, Mr. Minister, that they should stop it and not get yourself involved in criminal activities. If somebody come to you and offer you some money to buy something that looks questionable, tell them, I'm not part of it. I'm sorry, I'm not part of it. And just to warn them, Mr. Minister, also that we're no better able to investigate some of those crimes. You may think that your role is not critical, but if you were to commit a certain act and suggest that it's leading to criminal activity, you could very well be charged for conspiracy. You may say, yeah, I just bought that. Yes, but you're part of it. But I would warn them, Mr. Minister, not to get yourself involved in any sort of criminal activity, because we're taking those matters very, very, very seriously. And they could very well find themselves before the court on a charge of conspiracy.
Mr. James?
Yes, I too want to support the chief in denouncing activities that are criminal in nature, and not only even if you are not part and parcel of actually committing the offense, but if you help, assist, or aid and abet in any way, shape, or form that involves criminal activity, you could be charged as well. Probably not as a principal offender, but you could be charged with offenses like conspiracy or aiding and abetting in committing the substantive offense. So you must desist from any suspicious activity that may lead or link or suggest that there is some criminality to it. So you have, well, no matter where you are, you could be in the public service, you could be working privately, any form of activity that you feel it is suspicious or may lead to criminal activity, I'm advising you to desist from it or stop it. And so too, I'm encouraging people, if you see something, say something. There must be a police officer or somebody within the community that you can entrust in giving information as it relates to criminal activity within your community. There must be somebody. There must be a police officer. If not a police officer, you can go to your pastor, you can go to a church leader, you can go to the men of cross, somebody you have confidence in, and filter the information to law enforcement so we can help stop the criminal activity, so the community will be a safer and better place for you too. Because you may put yourself in danger if you involve in criminal activity. Simple or naive it may look, but it may build up to bigger things where your life and the life of others and innocent people may be put in danger by you involving in maybe sinister clandestine activity within your workplace, in assisting or helping people in committing crimes. So my advice to you is to desist any suspicious activity, desist yourself from involving in such activities.
Okay. So you're saying in clear and simple terms that no stone will be left unturned. That the eye of the police will be on everyone.
On everyone.
That's it.
Because as I said, Mr. Minister, we have to put a stop to this gun violence. We must put a stop to it. We're not used to this. This is not part of our culture. And it shall not become part of our culture. And we're really encouraging anybody who has information that would suggest that a firearm is out there, somebody has committed a crime, let us know. As Mr. James indicated, there must be somebody, and we have a clear case where a certain sergeant of police was entrusted with 7 firearms. Sergeant Yankee. That's a clear case. And we have other instances. We may not be telling that to the public, but there must be somebody within the police force that you can entrust with that information to ensure we get those firearms off the streets and the criminals off the streets.
Okay, now we are now 29 minutes after 9 o'clock, and we're just almost to the end of this program for this evening. Those of you listening and you want to call, you have just a few moments to do so. The number is 448-3284 1-800-327. You have, of course, we wanted to allow the chief and the deputy some time to just to speak to the public here and to ensure that the information gets out there. And so if we have only a few more minutes for you to do that. Yes, Chief, in terms of encouragement to your men and women, what would you like to say to your men and women? Now that you're appointed Chief, and do you get a sense you have the support of the men, and can you give them the assurance that you're going to work to ensure that the morale of the police force continues to climb?
Mr. My men know me.
Good evening. Good evening. Good night. Hello? Since something seems to be wrong with the phone tonight. Hello, good evening. Hello? Good evening. If we miss a call, something we have to get we have to get the technician here tonight. Yes, continue, Stephen.
So I would say, the men and women of the police force know my personality. They know how I act, how I behave. My yes is yes, and my needs are needs. And I whatever I tell them, they can stand by it. But I must thank them, Mr. Minister, for 2020 to 25. They worked very hard. They worked beyond the call of duty with very long hours. That throughout the force. I mean, we'll have one or two officers that may not be pulling the weight, but generally, the police force in Dominica, officers work very, very hard. So I want to encourage them to work, keep working, because we can't give up. We have a job, and that not anybody can do. Not everybody likes to do, and if not for us, who will do it? So I must encourage them to keep working. And I always tell them they won't die. You will get tired, but you won't die. And then you work hard, and you'll get your time when time is due. But I really want to encourage them and thank them for what they have been doing. And I'll be asking more of them again throughout 2026. Much more of them.
Okay, the caller was trying to call. Can try back if something. We had some technical difficulties. Let's see whether we've gotten it correct and corrected. So you can try again. Yes, Chief, you can continue. Yeah.
Yeah, so just to encourage them to keep working, keep persevering. As everybody know me, I don't like lazy people, and my friends are the people that do the work. And if you'll find problems with me in the force if you're not committed to the task. You'll find it very difficult to work with me. But if you're committed to the task, you're doing your work, you'll be regarded, you'll be rewarded in many ways. But I just want to encourage officers, as I said, to do what is asked, what is required of them. And because the public expects us to deliver a certain quality of service to them. And I'm asking for no less than that. And once you do that, we're good.
Yes, I too want to support the chief in recognizing the men who have worked tirelessly for the past year. They indeed, most of them put their best foot forward. We are encouraging the others to come on board. Those who know that they did not do the best in a new year, I want to encourage them to continue to do their best and to fall in supporting the structure forward. Yes, continue to support our structure in maintaining peace and tranquility in the country, and their good work they were rewarded for their good works. So good work in the police force, committed work, you have been rewarded. So I just want to encourage you to continue to do this good work with discipline, and professionalism.
We have some people following on DBS Radio's Facebook page, and one, I think, Helen Henderson, saying good evening to you. I'm not sure if you know anyone by the name of Helen Henderson, Mr. Corbett, and listening all the way from St. Thomas, and to all our listeners, of course, and viewers on the DBS Radio's Facebook page. Good evening to you. I'm noting your comments and your concern, and it's so nice to have you. Yes, Mr. James, you were saying something.
Yes, sir. I was saying we had a good year in terms of the camaraderie of the men. I should say the men are with the chief, and they are in support of the chief program, in supporting structure and making the place a better place, a safer place. And they support the chief program, so I'm encouraging those to continue supporting the chief's program and the chief intent, and let us move forward and make the force a better place with discipline though and professionalism.
Yeah, I am very much encouraged by that, and to ensure that the chief and the deputy can continue to work together, and with one purpose, and that is to serve the country and to continue to promote Dominica as a zone of peace, and to meet the challenge with a sense of purpose and commitment and grit, you know. And if you can continue to, as you start that mission, both of you are appointed at the same time, understand? It's historic indeed. And I think it's an indication of the confidence that has been reposed in you by, and of course, you're appointed on the advice of the Prime Minister. And so that's a lot of trust and confidence that have been actually placed in both of you on behalf of the people of Dominica. And I'm happy that you guys can start on the right footing in the new, and to work together and to ensure that you continue to make not only the police force proud, but Dominicans alike proud, and they'll be even happier if we can see similar gains, and as you have been able to demonstrate, not only within the police force, but as Dominican as a whole, in all the other areas of crime, where you're seeing historic, significant reductions, and you guys can get it right in terms of getting the plans and the strategies that you need to confront the issue of gun violence in the country, and of course working in concert with your other private and public entities. So your last comments as we close off. Yeah, Mr. Corbett, let's start with you.
Yeah, so thank you very much again for the opportunity, Mr. Blackmoore, for addressing the public. I said I'm a very humble person, I'm a very approachable person. I always have an open door policy. You come to see the chief, no need to want an appointment. I'm not a doctor. You make appointments to see a doctor. So if you have a concern, you have an issue with the police, and you want to see the chief of police, as long as I'm in office, I will see you. And I've been doing this for years, from when I was deputy, and it's not going to change. I'll call upon the members of the public to assist the police, to work alongside the police. And I said, if you have any concerns, if you believe an officer have done something that is not in keeping with the code of ethics, that the code of conduct, there's a procedure that you can report that officer, and action will be taken. You may not be hearing often that officers have been charged disciplinarily, but it's happening. And even as I speak, there are about 3 or 4 officers that will be going before tribunal for things that they would have done in contravention of this disciplinary code. But to my officers, I ask them again to support what is it that we are trying to implement, to ensure again that we can reduce the crime and the fear of crime, importantly. And again, this year again, we're going to see a greater presence of the police throughout the public, throughout the communities, and a greater emphasis in tackling this scourge, this firearm scourge, this trend that we see that young men want to get themselves involved in shooting each other and killing each other. It does not go down well with the police, and certainly not well with the public. And we understand the implications for that, the implication on the economy and on the citizenry, and the whole fear that will be put into members of the public. Again, I say we understand the task at hand. You'll be seeing again more emphasis of the police going after all ways that we believe those firearms are, and just to warn the criminals: don't get involved in this activity. Solve your issues amicably. You don't have to kill somebody to solve an issue. Again, and get yourself involved in constructive activities, so you don't have to be doing any bad deals. There's work to be done. There's work that you can do other than going down the line of criminality. So that's my message out there for 2026. Solve your issues amicably. Do not look to use a gun or firearm to kill somebody to solve your issues. And the police, as I said, will be coming out in greater numbers, in stronger numbers. Additionally, Mr. Before I go, on Saturday of this week, we'll have the opening of Carnival in the city of Roseau. Again, I want to warn the patrons that we'll have a no-nonsense approach to policing. You come to the city of Roseau to enjoy yourself. You have no need to bring a knife or cutlass or gun or scissors, anything like that. You come to enjoy yourself, you come to jump up and have a good time. That's what we expect you to do. So if you're caught with any weapon whatsoever, you'll be dealt with according to law. You may find yourself going to court on Monday morning. Any weapon. You found any weapon in the van. So we'll have a no-nonsense approach again for this. And we expect the opening of Carnival to go on peacefully. People come enjoy themselves and go home with incident free. Any deviation from that, you'll find yourself where the law says you should be. And you may very find yourself going to court on Monday morning. So I just want to warn all those who have evil intentions on that day. Please don't come to Roseau, the city of Roseau, to cause any disturbance whatsoever.
So before you go, Chief, sorry to interrupt you there. I'm just following the Facebook page there, and I think Mervyn Celestin is asking a question there. Good evening to you, sir. Thanks for I'm speaking to him. Thanks for actually interacting with us. So he's asking, what do you have in place to protect the privacy of informants? That's another area. I believe that community policing can help to restore the public trust, and so he's asking what you have in place to protect the privacy of informants. Well, that's to say, therefore, when somebody gives information that the police does not sell that person out.
And that person, Mr. Minister, I'm following also is a former officer.
Mm.
I don't want to call his name, but he's a former officer from, I think, Wesley area. Again, Mr. Minister, we have one of the best forces in the Caribbean, if not in the world. And from time to time, you may hear people say the police sell out, police giving information. But I don't believe that to be so. Again, if you are not sure or who it is that you can speak with, there must be somebody, I've said it over and over again, there must be somebody within the police force that you can speak with, you can call. Somebody that's confidential. And again, we have many examples where people have given information to the police. Most of the successes that we're having is not by magic, it's not by magic. It's because we are working with members of the public. So most of the time that we have seized in 2024, in excess of 80 some of the firearms, not by magic. We didn't just say, well, is it here? No, we are working with members of the public and using our ingenuity in some cases and going after them. And we have heard of no information being leaked to anybody in that regard. So I'm saying that again, there must be somebody, there must be an officer that you can have that confidence in to give information, and that information won't be leaked, won't leave the confidence of the police. So again, I know the person asking the question.
Another thing that I think that you may want to, and also give the person and the other people who have similar sentiments, the comfort that recently the position of a assistant commissioner of police for administration and training was actually created, and one of the areas that has been looked at is the establishment of some kind of mechanism within administration, which will provide for a transparent way for the public to provide information and to have the grievances heard, and I think that is contemplated in that new dispensation that is being actually implemented now. So I think the caller or the person who was actually asking that question on the Facebook page is also speaking and expressing the similar sentiments of many people. Oh, yes. So, yeah, very interesting program. We can go until midnight, but I know you're very busy. And you were speaking about the opening of Carnival. Let us continue to ensure that it is done in an environment of peace. And you're saying that the police will be out there.
Yes, we'll be out there in numbers. Again, just to encourage public, come and have a good time. Showcase a good natural or old mass, or not, what you call it, the real mass, because I say we won't tolerate any form of disorderly conduct. Anybody that seem to want to not to come have fun on that day, you'll find yourself in a goal. That is a place that is designed for people who are misbehaving. And as I said, we'll take a very no nonsense approach on that day, and you may find yourself, as I said, going to court.
Somebody's asking, Chief, is it possible to get a police station at Girardel, even if it is 3 police officers? I mean, you know why the person said that, because they did not see police at all up there.
But in all fairness to the committee president team, and I agree. I know we've been going to Girardel, maybe not often enough. But the intention, as I said, this year is to have a greater presence of the police in those areas. But again, the way policing is done, I mean, I don't want to make it appear as if we're not going, but in a sort of scientific approach towards policing, where you have little or no crime, chances are you will see less police officers. And that's how it's normally, that you know it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have high incidence of crime, you will see more police. So we've been going to Girardel sometime last week or week before.
Engaging the school.
And we've been engaging the school, yes, that's correct too. And I know the team have been going. Maybe that person may not have seen the community policing team, but I know, and I've seen photographs of them at the school and through the community, meeting and greeting the people in the Girardel area. But again, Girardel basically have almost no crime, and that's a good thing. So hence the reason you may not be seeing many officers in that area.
Yeah, but again, the public just feel comforted when they see police officers in uniform showing up in the various communities.
Yes.
Even if you don't have
high incidence of crime. Yes.
Precisely, and I think that is the approach, and the new approach that you have been talking about, that people want to see throughout the country. So I wish both of you well, and all the members of the police force, and women and men, and I wish you all the best, and let us continue to work together for the good of this country. And to the listeners, we'll be on with a next very exciting program. And again, the chairman of the commission, the electoral commission, has given a commitment. He'll be there next week Thursday to speak about the confirmation process. And I'm looking forward to this program. Good evening to everyone. Thank you very much, Chief and Deputy. Have a nice night, and may the good Lord continue to bless you all and all of us Dominican. Good night.
Thank you, and good evening. Good night.